That's Vegetarian. I am your chef and host, Karen Bukolt. Today we are going to make a veggie egg bake, aka crustless quiche. And the great thing about it is that you can use whatever vegetables you have in your fridge and then just choose whatever spices that complement the vegetables. So let's get baking. We're going to take our 9.5-inch pie plate and we are going to coat it with a little bit of olive oil and Parmesan cheese. You want to try to spray as evenly as possible. Sprinkle it in. Get it a little bit around the sides. If you want, you can use a sifter and sift it through so it gets a bit of a finer coat. I'm going to start cutting a zucchini. I'm not going to use the whole zucchini because it'll be too large. So I'm going to take about 1/4 of it. And what I'm going to do is quarter it as well and then cut slices, because you want to make sure that the pieces you're making are pretty bite-sized. Keep your fingers out of the way as much as you can because you want to keep those. We have our green peppers and red peppers, which I half of each, which I already sliced, but this is an easy way because they just need to be bite-sized. They don't need to be perfect. You can just go through, line up the slices and just go through and chop. And then the other piece that we have that is not cut yet is the broccoli. One of the reasons I kept the broccoli is I want to show you that you can use the stem. It doesn't need to be discarded. I would just cut it a little bit smaller so that it cooks when we go to saute it. And then just cut up your little florets at the top. I'm going to put the vegetables into a measuring cup just for easy transport. Okay, we also have some cherry and grape tomatoes, about 10 of them, that have been cut in half. I have chopped black mushrooms. You can use kalamata, green, 10 baby carrots that have been sliced. Ooh, let's get the spinach out. We're leaving the mushrooms and the spinach out because they take less time to cook. We'll add them in a little bit later. Let's get over to the stove and start sauteing. First, we're going to pump up our olive oil to spray our pan. First thing we're going to put in is 1 cup of chopped onions. Okay, so we have our onions, which you can hear sizzling. So they've been cooking for about a minute. Let's add the garlic. That's about a clove or 2 of chopped garlic. Give it a stir. And now we're going to add most of the vegetables. Our black olives, which are optional to cook, but all the rest of them, because you want to get the liquid out. If you don't get the liquid out of the vegetables, when you cook your quiche, it winds up being very runny and you wind up over baking it. So just for about 5 minutes, enough to just soften them and release the liquid. I'm going to now add the mushrooms and the spinach because they take less time to cook. And the mushrooms are cut into bite-sized pieces. I'm just leaving the spinach whole because it shrinks up so much. In total, the veggies have been sauteing for about 5 minutes, 2 minutes on the mushrooms and the spinach, not an exact science. And we're now going to put it into our prepared baking dish. With everything being all mixed up, everything will be scattered throughout the quiche as well. This is a combination of spices that I find work well. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon each of the ground sage, garlic powder, yellow mustard, celery salt, sweet paprika. We're going to do 1/2 teaspoon. Same with the turmeric, potato. And then I'm going to put in 3/4 of a teaspoon of tarragon, dried tarragon. We're going to stir them together. The veggies and the mixing of the spices is the most difficult part of this dish. We're going to mix everything into the egg replacer container. If you're using real eggs or if you don't have a funnel, which I'm going to use to dump the spices in, you can use a mixer or a bowl to mix everything up and to whip it a little bit. Open it, put the funnel in, dump the spices in. So now I have 3 tablespoons of milk I'm going to put in as well. All right, remove the funnel, put the cap back on. So let's finish preparing our quiche. We're going to put in some fresh herbs. I have some basil here and just scatter it about. It's always great to use fresh herbs whenever possible. They are so fragrant. And I just love using my kitchen shears because it just makes it that much easier. I have 2 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. Once again, just put it over the top. You can omit the cheese if you don't want to use the dairy. And then our egg mixture is all ready, and we're just going to pour it on the top. Don't worry, the color is what it is because of the turmeric and the paprika we put in. If you notice as you're pouring in the egg replacer that you have a lot of veggies to cover and not necessarily a whole bunch of egg replacer left, just add a little bit more milk or water to it until you cover the entire dish. Grabbing our tomato slices so we can garnish the top. We're just going to make a pretty little pattern here, and then one in the middle. So now that we have it garnished on the top, it's ready to bake. We're going to put it into our 400-degree oven for 10 minutes. We're going to lower it to 350 for another 25. That means our quiche is done. Oh, let's look at it. Oh, it looks fabulous. Sometimes it'll rise and then it'll fall again. Let's take it over here and cut ourselves a slice. Just sounds good. I love this spatula because it gets small slices really well, especially the first slice, without killing it. Adding the spices to the egg whites just adds so much flavor. And the vegetables with the different textures, with them being cooked just enough, and the broccoli, the way it absorbs the flavors, it's just an absolutely delicious dish. That's vegetarian.